Okay. You can see the screen, right?
Yes, it's clear.
Yes? Okay, that's good. Okay, so we have like, yeah, what to pack as a travel journalist? That's a very good question, right? Because some of us have a lot of different gear. Like I have, for example, like, yeah, like, I mean, I use a phone, a GoPro, a camera. Some people have even more different cameras, maybe a drone. So the question is, yeah, like, what do you pack? And it's usually, you define it by doing pre-trip research. So it depends, yeah, what your story hunting expedition is, right? Like, what's your project? So the questions you can ask yourself: do you go to like a safe area, unsafe? Will you stay in hostels? Will you camp in tents, right? Or you will stay couch surfing, or maybe you will go and to a luxury hotel where you can just take the most expensive cameras and you don't need to worry about, right? Also depends, do you go to shoot for like an event, like adventure sports? Maybe then you need different gear. And it's also important, like the climate, right? Do you go into the jungle, desert, beach? You'll be on boats, or maybe in undeveloped neighborhoods. So maybe you need to hide your things. You can imagine if you go to neighborhoods with a high crime rate, right? Then it's not that smart. Like if people live in poverty and you come there with like a huge camera flashing off, right? So maybe it's just first of all not that polite, and second, yeah, people can just see it and feel like, it's maybe an opportunity to escape the poverty, right? So it's possible if you leave it somewhere, then maybe they can take it or not. It depends, right? I mean, I went to many different places, and to be honest, I never had, yeah, 99%, I had always good experiences. So, but it's always something, like safety, it's something very important to keep in mind as a travel journalist, especially if you visit like, for example, specific markets where there is maybe some illegal trade, or specific neighborhoods where there's maybe trade in drugs, or there's extreme poverty or crime. Also, of course, like if we go into the extremes of travel journalists, you can also go like, yeah, for example, to places where you have, disasters, right? Natural disasters, like wars, right? Or some humanitarian crisis. So some travel journalists go there as well. And yeah, you are then more backed by like a big like news media, right? Like think about BBC, for example. So we talk really about travel journalists of like that you are employed for like a television station, right? However, nowadays there are also like more YouTubers and photographers and travel bloggers that also like travel sometimes to that kind of yeah, destinations. Basically, it's a bit more like reachable, I would say, right? So of course it depends a bit, yeah, of your niche, of your project, right? And also of the environment, like what you pack. So as you can imagine, if you go for like, yeah, for like safari, right, to like see animals like elephants, let's say in Sri Lanka, then you take, for example, a big lens with you, right? If you go to document like surfers, like surfing in some surf town, maybe in Nazaré, like in Portugal, I went a couple days ago, then yeah, maybe you need a long lens, but at the same time, maybe a GoPro. Maybe you go also put some fins on and go in the water, right? So it's very important to think strategically. Also for like travel journalists, that's more in the yeah, luxury travel journalists, I will call it, for like hotels. It helps sometimes to come up with a more professional equipment, maybe even with a drone if you want to do more the real estate, right? Like the hotel building. So yeah, it helps a lot if you plan it ahead, right? What you pack. And that means the same not only for the camera gear, but also your travel gear. That means like your clothes, right? Do you use merino wool? Do you bring a poncho, rain poncho with you, or just light clothes or heavy clothes? So it's very important as well. Even like the choice of your backpack. I have, for example, I use, yeah, 3 different backpacks. Sometimes I just go with the suitcase because, yeah, if it's for like a certain project and I know I will be on one location, it's more comfortable. So that's also a possibility. So yeah, just like a packing list. And of course, the best is just that you make a packing list for yourself, right? Because yeah, it depends of your niche, and it's good to have like an overview, and then for specific projects you can just add things or eliminate. I would always recommend to pack as light as possible, but at the same time, yeah, you need your gear as well, right, to document. So yeah, we have camera body. So that means, yeah, which camera do you take with you? Do you take like a Polaroid, underwater camera, GoPro, iPhone, DSLR camera like the Canon or Sony, a drone, right? Or maybe you're into astrophotography, you take a whole telescope that you'll be like shooting the stars movement in Atacama, for example, in Chile, or like other places. So yeah, it really depends of your project or your own business that you have, right? As a travel journalist. So also with the lenses, yeah, do you take more lens for portraits, or do you plan to shoot like wildlife? So maybe you need a huge lens, or for surf photography, you need also a huge one. Tripods, do you plan to really shoot more the stable shots? Microphone, you will be also like, yeah, maybe interviewing people, right? Storage, I think this one's very important. So personally, I would recommend at the beginning, if you want to save a lot of like headaches, basically, then I would recommend to basically, when you have a MacBook, put like 1 TB on it. Maybe it will cost a couple €100 more. However, your computer will run faster, right? And you have less stress. You have more time to upload everything, goes faster, and just less of a headache. And the same with the phone. So for example, I put 1 TB on the laptop and also 1 TB on the phone. And it's awesome because I'm going and I'm shoot content, and I never have something like, oh, my memory went out, right? That I don't have memory. And imagine I wanted to take this shot of a surfer in Nazaré surfing the big wave, and suddenly it's like your memory is full. Like that's the worst thing that can happen, right? To like a travel photographer. And the same means with battery. You don't want to run out of battery. So yeah, fortunately, I don't have it now with me, but I have like a X-Storm power bank. I'll write it down in the chat. And it's awesome because I think I bought it like, oh no, actually my friends bought it for me for my birthday. It was a very cool birthday present. I had another X-Storm as well, but this one can charge, I think, a phone 5 to 7 times. So you can imagine, you can just travel only with this power bank, and you can charge your phone maybe even 7 times, like on the road. So yeah, just 1 time per day, let's say. So you have like almost 7 days, right, that you can run without any charging. And I think a laptop you can charge like, I think 50%. So that's also a thing. If you invest in a good laptop, for example, the new MacBooks have the from 2024 with M4 chip, and this laptop can, for example, usually I can stay like 8 hours in a cafe and it will run on full battery. So basically it can run for like 8 to 12 hours. So that's very cool because yeah, you don't need to worry in a cafe to search for like a plugin. And if you're editing, also your battery goes faster, right? So the nice thing with this X-Storm is that you can basically, yeah, put like the cable and plug it in the power bank at it to your laptop, right? So it charges your laptop as well. I mean, it's only 50%, but still it means it can add you like 3 to 4 hours. So it's very useful, I would say. So gear is like, I would say, very important for like travel journalists because yeah, battery, storage, speed, right, of editing and charging everything, it saves you a lot of time. So for example, yeah, for the laptop, I would recommend, yeah. How about charging, guys? I didn't charge my headset. So you see like how sometimes it can be problematic if you don't charge everything. And that's the thing, you have also like so many electronics, so you can also sometimes, yeah, just like forget, right, to charge something. So we have further like camera bags. I would recommend Wonder, right? So we have Wonder. It's like I can later share the link with you. It's basically was awarded by National Geographic as well. It's a great camera backpack. It's you can put like packing tubes, and yeah, you have day packs or more like backpacks for like 1 or 2 weeks. Further, we have lights when you when you have gloomy weather or it's nights, then you can put a light on your phone, your camera, or your GoPro. Power bank, we had that. Headset, I would recommend this one that I have. It's from Bose actually. It's also quite comfort. So if you want to sleep in like the plane, then you can have your rest. However, one thing is they run. Yeah, I mean you can probably go a couple of days with the battery, but sometimes I forget to charge them because yeah, if you have it on you, right? So then yeah, you just basically forget that you need to charge it. But you can actually use the external power bank and charge, for example, two things like your headset and your phone. So that's also possible. Then we have the notebook. It can be like, yeah, you can use your phone, or I would prefer the paper one for journaling in the morning. If I want to do some immersive travel writing, it helps sometimes with a cup of coffee. Actually, Veronica sent that me before the class, like a very nice article that she wrote about like the Christmas feelings. So I think that's very cool, especially if you describe the aroma of like coffee or like tea and the food. So sometimes it helps to, yeah, I would say sometimes it helps to just write like raw, basically with just your pen, right, on paper. Maybe your creativity will be a bit different than just typing on the keyboard of your laptop. You can do one time a test for yourself. We have cleaning sets. Don't underestimate it. Like it's not expensive. You could just couple euros. It's basically some napkins and maybe some fluid. So basically to clean your lens. Always before you go shooting, or if you had like a very dirty outdoor shooting, let's say filming like motocross or surf or like jungle expedition, going with the dune buggy, then yeah, you can get dust, water, dirt on your lens. So imagine if you go and shoot again 1 hour later, then basically you can have blurry shots. So always have a napkin just to clean it, and some fluid, just like somewhere in your like backpack or day carry-on. And of course, at the end, I would just also say paperwork. That means have like maybe a your passport of vaccinations, maybe your permit, right, that you can film somewhere abroad. Depends, yeah. If you go, for example, let's say to war zones or natural disasters, then maybe the police can block your way, and without a press card you can't enter. So then it's recommended. However, if you just do for your YouTube channel or something, then don't worry about like the local authorities. Usually don't need to know about it, right? So it's more for really like journalist work for television with the big cameras, because then you're more visible. With the normal GoPro or phone or even like the small Canon camera, it shouldn't be a problem. And I see a question from Veronica. Yeah, how much does this equipment cost? Yeah, that's a good question. And in the beginning, I would just say, because you're like learning, it doesn't matter like which equipment you have. It's more about your creativity, story hunting, your project, right? That's more important. And yeah, it really depends like of your niche as well. I mean, if you are like a surf photographer, then yeah, you need to purchase maybe like a laptop for editing, a long lens, a short lens for portraits, maybe a Canon camera, or you can just ditch all those three and choose a GoPro that you always go with the people in the water. You can choose a drone and then follow the surfers, right, and film them or shoot pictures, or just like a phone, right? But then with the phone, yeah, you can't really go in the water. However, you have nowadays kind of built-in cases, so it's also possible. But then I would recommend the GoPro. Other example, wildlife photography, also long lens. Cultural photography, usually a short lens will do it, so you don't need to buy that many lenses. I can give like some examples of like price, like some cameras like DSLR, like those kind of cameras, they can cost 400 euros minimum, sometimes 200, and still can do good shots. Professional ones, like very professional ones, can be sometimes 2000 euros, right? Like only the body of the camera. Sometimes lens can be 2000 euros. So that we go a little bit into that geek camera gear, right? If you really want to shoot that very professional, cinematic. However, I would, to be honest, in the beginning, if you're still like learning, just go with, yeah, with your budget, right? If you have a bit more to spend, you can go a bit more expensive. But if you don't have a big budget, just go for a cheap one. Even your phone, it should be good. The iPhones nowadays, but of course, recommend the newest model, but the older ones work fine as well, or second hand. And you can really shoot like very unique content. Remember, it's not like about the gear. Okay, it's important, right? However, it's more about the story that you tell. Even if you, let's say you shoot a beautiful picture of someone, like, I don't know, like riding on a camel and working on his laptop, for example, and it can go viral, even if it's a bit blurry and the lens is not that good. And, it's not only about the camera, it's more about the content, the angle that you shoot, right? The story behind it. So I think that's the most important. However, with your travel gear, with your camera gear, you increase the chances of making your photography more professional, right? Especially as a travel journalist, because then you can separate yourself a bit more maybe from travel influencers, or like in general from people that just take pictures of vacations, right? And another thing, yeah, hotels usually look a little bit what gear you have, because they usually don't have a drone, for example. So if you come with the drone, they sometimes even pay you for that. So in that case, I would recommend to invest a bit more. But yeah, it all depends. Like laptops can be from like 1,000 to like 3,000 euros. So yeah, if you want to add like that 1 TB or like very like heavy editing software, then yeah, it's better to buy a more expensive one. If you just edit with basic software like iMovie and a MacBook case, or like with Windows, for example, DaVinci Resolve, that's more, yeah, for videos, or Adobe Premiere, then like, yeah, you can also get a bit a cheaper one, right? However, yeah, if you're like getting to buy a new gear, then I would always recommend to go, yeah, for the newest, because it's, yeah, up to date. If your budget is low and you're still practicing, then you can go for the cheapest. So yeah, I hope I answered a little bit the question, Veronica, because yeah, it's very difficult to say like how much does this equipment cost, right? Because you can spend like let's say a couple €100 just for the basics, right? Like cameras, and you can spend a couple thousands or 10,000 of euros. But it's, if you buy a camera, let's say for €5,000, it doesn't mean that it's 5,000 times small differences of like 10 or 20%. That it's maybe just a bit better, right? And you also need to know how to use it, right? Those advanced, yeah, like features, right? So here we have also like some examples, like a tripod. You can have SD cards, GoPro, like kind of like a selfie stick, or even gimbal that stabilizes your footage. That's for filming, for example, useful. So here you can see a little bit for yourself, like, yeah, which camera should you take, right? Which camera should you pack? Should you go just for the basic, like the iPhone? Maybe you're into adventure, extreme sports photography, then GoPro. Maybe more portraits, cultural photography, hotel projects, right? Then maybe more like a DSLR camera. I use Canon, for example, personally. So you can see here a little bit the cameras, like this, like DSLR, I think, from Canon. We have GoPro. With the GoPro, it's very cool because you can make very creative hooks, those POV, first person shots, right, that we discussed last time. And the beautiful thing is, if you do extreme sports or a little bit undercover journalist or dangerous neighbor, then yeah, I mean, those GoPros are usually between 300 to 400 euros. If they fall down, you can always, like buy a new one. You can, yeah, replace them, and you can attach them in different angles, right? I would not recommend to take your DSLR camera when you're snowboarding, for example, following a story of a snowboarder. However, later, if you're in the ski lodge or somewhere, then of course you can take those beautiful portraits, right? You can also sometimes use different cameras. Like this one, this like underwater camera. So there's a whole case. You hold it like this with both hands. You see those divers or surf underwater photographers, they have fins under their feet and they just go with the surfer and try to capture the surfer like when he is a little bit above them, right? So it looks a bit more powerful, the shot. So you can also, yeah, this is really more like if you're into making content for dive schools, snorkel, surfers, right? Like surf schools, so very specific. Drones, right? Should you invest in a drone? I would say in the beginning, yeah, I would not say like try to buy the 3 different cameras. I would just say use first your phone, get comfortable, then maybe a GoPro, then maybe a Canon camera, and then maybe a drone, right? Because you can use also software like pexels.com. You can get their commercial free pictures. So yeah, I see from Veronica a question. Did you buy in second hand? What do you use? How much you paid? So yeah, I can tell you a bit. Yeah, I didn't buy from second hand. I'm always a bit scared with electronics. However, if you know people, then it's always more safe. So for example, I know a friend and he wanted to sell like a drone, so I could buy from him, for example. So yeah, for like the Canon camera, I don't have like a very expensive Canon camera. I think between something like 600 to 800 euros or something like that a couple years ago. The lens also something like that, 600 to 800 euros. Like a big lens. With this lens, I can zoom in on surfers, on wildlife. So it's quite good for the price because some people have like huge ones, almost like a telescope. My Wonder backpack, actually I paid for the backpack quite a lot, almost like 200 euro, but you can also find them now for 120 euros sometimes, like from Wonder. So like this backpack. I will later make a list of all the gear, maybe send to everyone. I think that will be good. It will be a homework for me then. So yeah, with this Wonder backpack, yeah, it's just very good because it's rainproof, theft-proof. They have like hidden pockets. Further, it's like yeah, you have that kind of bag that you can put over it. Your passport, it's more hidden on the bag basically, so no one can get it. And it's kind of like very compressed. You can put like cubes in it and just compress your clothes. So it's very useful. And that's why I paid a bit more, but you can get them now also like a bit more affordable because they're long on the market. Further, laptop, I spent for the laptop I think 2,600 euros, something like that. It's possible even more with the 1 terabyte, but I have like the MacBook Pro 2014, no, 2016, I think. Yeah, 16 was it, sorry, 16. 16-inch. I chose for a bigger screen, so that means it's a bit heavier for carry. However, for editing, it's better, bigger screen. I have also bad eyes, so it helps me to have everything, all the pixels bigger. So that's why I choose for bigger ones. I think, yeah, it was something between maybe like 2,800 euros and 3,200 euros for the question of Veronica, and 1 terabyte. But the thing is, I didn't want to, before I bought one time like a MacBook and I had problems with like space. I ran out of space, even I was using like iCloud and had some problems with that. That's why I went for the best MacBook when I had a budget again on the market. So that was like my choice because yeah, I use it every day for work, like for remote work, for editing, for writing, for like you, right, with the master classes. So, but maybe your case, if you're just at the moment maybe only doing writing, not that much video editing, you can really even go with a basic laptop. So it's totally fine. Depends what you do with it. Canon camera, yeah, it's I spent I think around 800 euros, something like that. But sometimes they can be even 2,000 euros. So just put it a little bit that you know. But like even the basic ones, I think even for 400 euros you can buy one nowadays. It's totally fine if you're practicing iPhones. That also really depends. I think something between 800 to 1,200 euros. But you can imagine, yeah, you carry it every day, you use it for your work, for calling your friends, for video, for getting access to. They are kind of like power tools, right, that we use nowadays. GoPro, I think GoPro is very nice if you are on the budget, because with the GoPro you sometimes can buy second hands for like 200 euros until I think 400 euros. There are some mounts, like you can have like a small gimbal, like light, a microphone. It's a good vlogging kit, actually. If you want a very most affordable vlogging kit, I would say I think is the GoPro. Like you can probably get with all the tools between 400 to 500 euros. Then you have lights on top of the GoPro. You have microphone. You can have even 2 batteries plus charging. And further, you can also have like, yeah, what else we have? Light, microphone, like case around it, or like that kind of selfie stick with stabilizer. The newer ones have stabilizer as well, so it doesn't move that much. Can you guys hear me, by the way? Because I'm checking if that's still my battery. You see, I made also like a mistake today by not charging my headset. Please let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Just put a thumb up. Let me check. Anyone? Let me know if you can't hear me. I'll write it in the chat. Can you hear me? Yeah, I see. Okay.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, that's good because everyone's so silent, so I was not sure. So yeah, drones. Yeah, drones also, like you can get very like that kind of almost toy drones. I saw one for 30 euros. So it can make some basic shots, but those I don't really recommend. Maybe just for flying a bit around and playing, but not really for videography or photography. So I would say no, these ones. So like professional ones, yeah, if you go for a drone, then maybe from 400 euros until like 3,000 euros. You have even those cinematography drones for 4 or 5,000 euros. But to be honest, don't worry about it. First, you can buy just well for 30 euros that you can just crash and just play a bit. And then if you feel like, oh, I like it, you can get one something between 400 to 1,200 euros. Power bank, it's a bit more cheap, and I would really recommend. It's like a lifesaver, really. Power bank is so important. You can buy a cheap one for 20 euros. More powerful one to charge your laptop, 80 euros. Sometimes even to 120 euros. I put the price a little bit up because you can buy everything way more cheaper if you buy it second hand, if you use some discounts. So I give a bit more higher prices. We have further like SD, like cards, so it's for memory. We have like hard drives, so it's like for storing like your footage, right? So if you don't want a laptop with a lot of space, you just don't want to pay those extra bucks for it, then you can also get a hard drive and put your content on the external hard drive or in the iCloud, for example, or OneDrive as well. I just put those options here. Okay, hard drive, OneDrive, your email, right? Or iCloud if you are more like an Apple user like me, for example. OneDrive, it's free, so it's very nice. Here we have iPhone, right? You can see a little bit here. You can buy lenses into it. You can attach like a microphone, like a whole case. Yeah, lights as well. So you can be very creative with it. We have like, long lens example here, right? Power bank we had, lacy we had. So this is like, I think it's also called like SSD, something like that. So it's basically a bit faster than this one. This is more hard drive and you transfer your footage. And these are a bit newer and these go a bit faster. That means you transfer your footage a bit faster and it's also a bit lighter. So if you need to choose, I would recommend this one because it's faster. The SD cards, packing cubes. Don't forget. Oh, can you hear me, guys? All right, my headset went down, but I'm here alone, so should be fine. Okay, so further we have the packing cubes. So basically you can buy merino wool clothes or bamboo clothes, like from organic materials. You can just compress them like in your packing cube. We have, what else do we have? Let me check. Yeah, travel adapter, world adapter is very good as well, which you can also use. So it's basically to charge everything. Can you hear me, guys? Because I see someone disappearing. Okay, that's good. And yeah, also like very important about like travel gear. I will later send you all the travel gear so you can also see the prices. Okay, I will make for everyone like a list of like the most. So I will basically make the list of the most important travel gear, travel photography gears. I will check a bit what's on the market, ask my friends. You can get like the newest, and then you can see a little bit what you can get on a budget option, what you can get on a option, and expensive option. So it depends of your budget. Because of course, yeah, you want to spend also like your budget on, like improving your skills and traveling and, so it's totally understandable. And also you need to think like, yeah, who are you as a travel journalist, right? So do you go more for extreme sports, wildlife photography, social challenges of people, your own travel channel, right? You can just go and vlog with your phone or your travel blog. So maybe you don't need an expensive camera, just shoot from time to time, just like pictures. So your phone should be fine as well. Or luxury tourists, then maybe you need those heavy equipment just to show off a little bit as well. So hotels know, yeah, that they want to hire you because yeah, if you come with your iPhone, they are like, hey, our staff can do that also, right, with the iPhone. So it helps sometimes when you come with your, camera on the neck. So yeah, here you can see a bit, yeah, what kind of travel journalist can you be? You can be investigative travel journalist. You can be more like documenting crimes, war zones, natural disasters, right? Like it's a bit dramatic. I'm not like a big fan of that, so I don't do that. You have protests. Nowadays, the increase of protests is quite common. So yeah, organizations look also more for journalists that want to go there and document it. And a lot of YouTubers sometimes go travel influencers also to document some specific protests. Like there was one in, I think, Agadir in Morocco, one in Kathmandu, Nepal, for example. Lately, there was also one in Mexico City, I think. But yeah, of course, always keep in mind that in some countries, even the police can be aggressive. So be careful with that kind of protest. You need usually also to have like a press card. So I would just recommend documenting protests, maybe not really for like your YouTube hobby channel. Some people do that maybe, but I would recommend to always be backed up by like a bigger organization, right? Like a news station. So here's a good example, right? So here, let's say you are a travel journalist. That's like basically a travel reporter. You go abroad and you document a local situation that maybe a political change or like people that are unhappy with the crime or like poverty. You document it, so it helps to be backed up, having a press card, your documents, because yeah, you're there in public terrain, right? And here you can see example more of like a freelance journalist, travel journalist that just vlogging maybe about hiking, about climbing, about snowboarding, can be about everything, about like culture, about food, right? So it's a very different dynamic, as you can imagine. This is more, you get paid monthly, stable income, you're backed up by the organization, so you have, backup. And this is basically your solo, right? Or maybe with a small team of freelance travel journalists. That means you have unstable income, right? You can earn a lot, you can earn a bit less or nothing even for a couple months. It depends how much you pitch, how much projects you get. And you can do it by doing freelancing or even having your own business. That means this guy can be travel vlogging about, for example, climbing, and maybe he is selling climbing gear, right? And still he's creating like travel journalist articles about climbing. So that's also possible. Nowadays, more and more travel journalists become also a little bit like a business owner. So that's also sometimes possible. Of course, you need to think about the ethical dilemma of like, how social you go and how commercial as well. Here you can see another example, someone just going a bit with heavy camera, maybe documenting like travel trends. Here you can see like interviewing people. As you can see, some gear can be more heavy, right? Especially video cameras.
So yeah, it depends also like for who you document. If it's for television, of course, it's a bit more heavy equipment. If it's just for YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, you can just use your phone. Even like if it's like an iPhone from like many years ago, iPhone 12, for example, they still do okay content. So it's totally fine. Even like the ones like below 12 also like you can still take those pictures. So it's good to practice by using the lens, because if you destroy your phone or at the moment, like if you're just starting out, it's totally fine to use your old camera. It's totally fine. And then when you're ready, you see, oh, you got some project that you can invest in a new one or maybe even get for free from like the company you work for. So here you can see an example of like travel food photography. You can just from above shoot it for Instagram, for example, for like a hostel or hotel. Actually, made many collabs like with hotels, hostels in Lima. Actually, like Hans maybe knows it. Like in former Salina in Naya, I did like I shoot there a bit. Like I did the kind of workshops, and next to it in a co-working cost space as well. And next to it, also on the same street, I had like three collabs on one street was like a Kema, for example, more like a bigger hotel, and I got like 10 days, like free accommodation, for example. So yeah, I would recommend those collabs where you get things for free. It's nice and it's fine if you kind of like feel you have like the time for it. But always would recommend to just get paid, for those projects, 2,000 euros, so you can have just like a good freelance payment or even better get employed by, for example, doing like monthly Instagram or like articles or travel blogging or PR or like SEO or AIO, right? Nowadays as well. So that's what I would recommend that you, if you really want that stable income, or you can, let's say, really live from, like pay your bills, your mortgage for your house and stuff like that. So that's more kind of consistent income. And if you just want to play around, go on adventure, it's totally fine. You can go for collabs, stay here maybe 10 days, 10 days there, right? And do small projects. So that's a bit another example is like going a bit more to some specific neighborhoods where the crimes are a bit higher or poverty. Then you also need to be aware of your surroundings. And I would recommend to go with a team if possible. I did many times. I went alone, but then I was vlogging and at the same time, like looking around. So you can't really concentrate well. So I would recommend go with two people. Can even connect with each other, maybe, like one day maybe Veronica can say to someone, hey, let's go to Moscow, or maybe like Hans can say like Peru, or Baja can say, oh, let's go to Iran, or I could say let's go to Poland or Netherlands, right? So I think that's also very cool because you should use your network, right? Your network of students. I mean, we are all in a different country, so you can exchange maybe even like if you know each other better, one person can travel to someone's home, other person as well. You have couch surfing, right? It's very famous for travelers. So there are many opportunities. So try to use them and sometimes just go together, right? Like on a trip. Yeah, we will go to Peru, for example, in August. So that's a good opportunity to learn everyone in real life, right? To go together, empower each other. Because it's much easier. I mean, imagine standing here alone, right? In like random neighborhood abroad, and it's so much nicer to have someone that films you, for example. You can exchange, even if it's just for two different YouTube channels. So I did it also a lot of times with other people, and I felt way better, right, than being alone. It's very helpful, especially in the beginning. Later, you get also confidence to just go alone, because that's also important. However, in the beginning, it's totally fine. I see like always two heads are better than one, and union is strength. Yeah, totally. That's totally true. Like, I mean, imagine like if you are with five people in a redaction, right, an editorial team, you have five people. Maybe one can do the blog, one can do the advertising, other one can do like the YouTube channel, right? So it's very helpful. And when you're abroad in a specific place, you feel more secure as well, right? Abroad, someone can rescue you out, right? I mean, good examples when I went, to Nazaré, let's say surfers, right? You had one guy was with a walkie-talkie telling a guy on a jet ski that was on the surfer with the surfers. So they rescued the surfers out with the jet ski from like the giant waves. And the guy was saying with the walkie-talkie from the beach, like, okay, guys, there's another swell coming. So imagine there are a team of three, right? And then you had also the fourth one was a surf photographer, just only focusing on the pictures for the surf travel magazine, for example. So that's also like an example that's not only in travel journalists, in many sports and other industries as well. It helps to team up. And yeah, we will do like a small assignment, like what would you pack for the following expeditions? So yeah, try to comment below. What would you pack to the desert if you go to the desert? Let's say to the, I don't know which desert, Negev desert you have Atacama in Chile. What would you pack? Try to think about it. Just go quick to the toilet, so please write down in the chat, okay? What would you pack? I'll be right back. Very curious. Okay, guys. Yeah, I don't see any replies yet. Can you hear me well? Oh, yeah, I see from Hans. Sunblock. Yeah, that's very good in the desert. Sun hat. Yeah. So that's, you don't underestimate as well that kind of travel gear. That's very smart what Hans said, because imagine you go with your camera, huh? You go to the desert and you shoot like the, let's say you go to the, I think was in Israel, like the Negev desert, and you basically shoot like the nomads there, the Bedouins. I think they're called the Bedouins. And yeah, imagine those have like scarves and they go on their camera. You're standing there with your camera and burning your neck, right? Your face. So it's very important to know where you will stand with the camera, right? So yeah, think about sunblock, but also things in the jungle like mosquito spray. Imagine you're getting picked by all those mosquitoes. It's also horrible. So try to think about the water. You can be very thirsty when you're on the desert. And which camera you use, right? Maybe you need to protect a bit your lens because of the wind, of the sand. Imagine you can maybe, destroy it. So always ask at the local store which one you should take and how can you protect the lens around it. Maybe you have sometimes a lens and that kind of like looks a bit like a windshield around it. Another thing, sunglasses with UV protection. Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, of course you don't need to like overdo it as well, right? I mean, yeah, sometimes I just go and don't use sunscreen, so it's not the end of the world. But of course, if you go to the desert, then it's a bit different. And then we have Veronica, who bring like a selfie stick, iPhone, camera with lenses, laptop, microphone. Yeah, you have a lot on the desert then. So you need to have a good camo as well next to you where you can, storage everything. I have the idea during the lesson, better to go with a colleague, and it's better to sell yourself for the project for good money, but to take assistant because you can't do all perfect, so you need a help. Yeah, so basically sometimes what you can also do, because I can imagine if you start like your own, even let's say you start a business, right, as a travel journalist, let's say your own travel magazine or your travel channel on YouTube or your Instagram channel, right? Nowadays, you have many opportunities to not only do freelance work or paid work for someone, a job, right? But you can also do your own business, right? Maybe you will be doing I don't know, you have a website and you're also like promoting wildlife photography cameras, and you make stories and you interview people, wildlife photographers, you really focus on that wildlife photographers community, right? Or photographers that shoot in the desert, right? So there are many ways, right? But of course it takes time to build up everything. And yeah, having assistant, you can also sometimes hire local photographers. In some countries, can be very affordable. So you can have someone that will film you, for example, you are presenting, or someone that edits your videos. I know, for example, in India, the services are quite affordable when you're like paying online for like editing. I had a very nice person help me like from India to design my website, for example, to make the brand a bit better. So it's very cool to do that. And sometimes you can team up just like, yeah, with fellow students, right? You can go together and decide like, hey, let's go, to like a place and yeah, let's help each other out, right? One time one will film, then the other, or maybe you even start like together, like a mini company, right? So that's also possible. You can also start a YouTube channel with more people, right? So that's also very possible. I will also, I'm also planning to do like a bit like a mini travel magazine that we can do here for the Travel Media Academy. So you can also learn how to get, how to pitch, how you get your work published. You have a bit like a kind of a mini magazine experience. I think can be very helpful, and that we can read each other's content as well. And also, if you make sometimes stories on Instagram or your YouTube video, let me know. I can also like promote it on the social media so you can get a little bit more views. So it can be also more helpful. So you can always tag me in videos and pictures. Okay, let me check further with the assist, a camera with extra batteries, a memory card. So yeah, battery, memory cards, it's very important, as well as internal storage. It starts with the internal storage. If you have a lot of storage, you save a lot of headaches, but also carry extra batteries. With GoPro, I carry sometimes 3 batteries because GoPro with travel vlogging, not with photography, but with travel vlogging, it can overheat sometimes. So it will go a bit faster, the battery, especially if you use it for vlogging. So that's good to know. Then you can attach maybe a power bank to it, or like just change the battery. So basically, yeah, you run out of battery, you change. It takes maybe 20 seconds to change, and you can shoot again. Or you can attach a power bank and it's charging all the time, so that you don't need to go through the effort of changing it. A light backpack or day pack. So sometimes what I do, I carry my Wander backpack, and then I have a very small day pack, some usually rainproof. So I can just store my things and just go for like a day shooting, right? If I have a lot of things, then I take my Wander backpack. I can attach a tripod and everything. A small first aid kit. Yeah, to be honest, like I used to carry a first aid kit, but I stopped actually because I usually go to place where you have somewhere like a local pharmacy. So an exception is, so imagine I arrive, let's say in Chile, and I'm planning to go to Atacama Desert, and I know I will be cycling and going in the remote area, then it's good to take like some mini medical aid kits. If you go more outdoor, right? Let's say to places where you don't have a local pharmacy, or if you go to in developed countries where you have sometimes problems with finding the right medicine. So I would recommend to carry a first aid kit, but other thing is also to just check where you go. I mean, if you go like to Portugal, like here, for example, I know in the hostel they have like a first aid kit. There's a pharmacy on the street, so yeah, maybe you can just take some basics. But if you go outdoor, let's say into the jungle, then yes, it's good to carry it. Personally, during my travels, I didn't really. I had one time I cut my feet with surfing, I remember. Then I had a problem. I needed to like walk to the local pharmacy, and back then I didn't know Spanish that well. Was in Ecuador actually, so it was very difficult to get like some iodium for the wound and some bandage. So yeah, you will save a lot of effort by just having a mini medical aid kit. So that's a very good one. Okay, another thing, imagine you're here, a wildlife safari, let's say in Sri Lanka, Thailand, Africa, maybe some country, let's say South Africa. So try to think about it. Which camera would you take with you? Let's do that. Just the camera, which camera? You can also add some things you would pack, some equipments, because that's a bit different than the desert, right? You will be going more maybe with like a truck, Land Rover, right? You need to shoot animals from a distance. So try to think about it. Which camera would you pack? GoPro? Would you pack long lens, short lens? Your phone? Camouflage maybe, right? If you're getting out of the car. Sometimes you have wildlife, so they put like a camouflage and just stand for like so long, like hours watching an animal. Okay, you can just put it in the chat. Oh, I see, very specific. Canon RF 100, 400 millimeters. Yeah, well done, well done. Further, also very interesting. Imagine you're at in Antarctica. You go on an Antarctic cruise. Those expeditions can be quite expensive. I did some research. It's around 10,000 euros. If you want to go for free to Antarctica, you can volunteer on one of the Antarctic laboratories. I met one time a guy that volunteered in one of those laboratories. He was like a technician, I think, and help with the logistics, which you can also help with cooking, with cleaning. So that's a good opportunity, and maybe with content creation as well. If they have social media channels or they need photography, so you can maybe volunteer as a travel journalist or even get paid by working in a laboratory in the Antarctic, for example. It's a bit an extreme version like of collaborating, but it's possible. I spoke with one guy and really it's possible to volunteer there. And sometimes they cover your expenses. So imagine like normally that kind of expedition costs around 10,000 euros to go to Antarctica. Yeah, you need a good camera against the extreme cold and moisture as well. Need to be careful of the penguins. GoPro, you need a special equipment to protect yourself from animals, helmet, mask. Yeah. Yeah, because imagine you will be maybe documenting ice wall climbing, for example, right? Or local researchers going there and, like doing some research about the animals or maybe even about some plants or the environment or the glaciers, the melting of the ice, right? So yeah, there are also like, of course, photographers and sometimes journalists going, right, to document, especially if they find something, right? Maybe some bones like from a dinosaur or like some archaeological things from like maybe where some people living in the past. So it's possible that they find some things and then you can go there and document it. Special clothing, equipment, you have to have health tests, otherwise you will not survive. Yeah, so if you go to extreme climates, it's recommended, of course, to also prepare yourself mentally, physically, right? Equipment, clothes. And if you get hired by a company, local lab, you can always try to reach out as a travel journalist. Then sometimes they provide it for you, or even they pay you, for all the equipment. But based on the source, the best time to photograph penguins in Antarctica is during the Australian summer, November, or Austral summer, November to March, when the wildlife is most active. Oh, good to know. So if we are going to photograph penguins, then between November to March. I haven't been yet in Antarctica, but who knows in a couple of years. Okay, let's go to the other one. A bit more affordable. I would say one of the most affordable destinations are usually surf towns, actually. I spent a lot of times in surf towns. Usually you don't need a lot of clothes, just like, your swimming clothes, some t-shirts. It's usually hot. The food is usually a bit more affordable. The same for the accommodation because you don't need to heat the accommodation. So it's definitely like the Antarctic. It's very expensive because you need more logistics, more heating, more clothes, more equipment. And those destinations like here, like if you go to India, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, Thailand, it's Cambodia, it's more affordable. And especially surf towns, they're usually a little bit further away from cities, so you can really find affordable price. And that means you have a bit more playground, more time to do your travel blogging, travel photography, videography. So that helped me a lot to be based, for example, in like Hans knows it's like Peru, like Mancora, Lobitos, for example, in Ecuador, like Montanita. We have like Veligama in Sri Lanka. It's one of the cheapest destinations I have ever been. You can go to Bali, Indonesia, or if you want to have less tourists, you can choose for Lombok, Indonesia, or even Yogyakarta. In Thailand, you can go to Koh Chang, the Elephant Island. You can go Korong. It's like in Cambodia. It's kind of a hidden island, Korong. Cambodia. If you are more in Europe, then you can think about, I'm here now in Peniche, Portugal. It's a surf town, way more affordable than Porto, Lisboa, or Ericeira, or Nazaré. So it's Peniche, Portugal. You can rent an apartment for around 600 euros to 800. It's a bit affordable than the bigger cities. You have also like Zarauz in Spain, Canary Islands, Tagazout in Morocco. I'm just naming those destinations because I'm a big fan of surf towns, and you can usually stay long term and work on your projects while drinking your coffee, and those are places to work remotely on a budget, right? Because if you go to, let's say, big cities, the capitals, it's usually more expensive. And in colder climates, let's say if you go to Sweden, Antarctica, to Canada, it can be more expensive than, let's say, if you go to a surf town in Morocco, a surf town in Sri Lanka. Further, we have GoPro camera from Veronica, sun protectors, different lengths, equipment for shooting, depends on your purposes of shooting. So I personally did some surf photography. So I did from the beach. That means I used a big lens to shoot. It's very cool. I have been a couple days ago in Nazaré. Maybe you know it. I will send later some pictures in our community platform. So basically, the people go on. They are like, I think, one of the biggest waves in the world. There's like a lighthouse, and people surf like giant waves. They are like so big that it's dangerous to surf them because you can basically die. And that's why they have jet skis. So if someone falls, the jet skis rescue the surfer and go behind the wave again. So as you can see, imagine if you are into like surf photography, you can use a big lens. That's for distant shots, right? When people take the waves. Other thing what you can use is a GoPro, or that kind of camera, even better with the big lens, and you go in the water with your fin, so you film the surfers in the water. If you are a good swimmer, or if the waves are small, you have a GoPro, you can attach it with a mount to the surfboard, for example, or to like your head or to your arm. You need to attach it well. And that means also for other like sports, right? Like scuba diving, climbing, motorbikes, even trail running, hiking. If you're just into vlogging, that's also totally fine, like with your GoPro in the jungle, right? Further, what you can use is like a Canon camera with a small lens just for portraits. If someone finishes, I have like one time I shoot a portrait in Siargao of like surfers, just someone just finished surfing. I just made a nice portrait. So you don't need to go into the water. You can shoot from a distance or from close up when someone finishes surfing. And if you want really to have more like video footage of like, surfer, like crushing on those waves, then a drone could be also like I filmed one time in Ecuador with the drone of a friend. It was very cool. Like we followed just a surfer like from above, and you need to know how to fly that you don't crash the drone, and then you could really see how he does the tricks. And we did it for like a collab, like with a local kind of co-living, co-working hostel. So it was very cool. They also kind of offered like free accommodation, free co-working for like the content. So this more an example of tropical destinations. And yeah, personally, I love it because yeah, I surf as well. And the thing is, it's also more affordable if you start out with travel journalists than, let's say, going to the Antarctic. However, if you are into the Antarctic, that's also totally fine, right? But then you need to have a good support team, good gear, right? So it's just a bit more expensive, right? So this is more on the budget, this is more expensive. And yeah, cities, urban, right? So please comment below what would you pack with you for urban cities. So some cities can be affordable. Let me think which I know in Sri Lanka. I forgot the name of the city. But the capital is quite affordable. In India, it's quite an affordable city. More expensive cities where you can drain your budget is, for example, New York, Los Angeles, The Hague, the Netherlands, where I'm from. Baha maybe knows it as well. It's more expensive, basically, the life there. And yeah, the cheaper ones are maybe, yeah, it's changing also, unfortunately, but Phnom Penh, like Cambodia, you have Hanoi, you can go quite affordable in Vietnam, Kathmandu, Nepal, yeah, India as well. Yeah, Jakarta, yeah, in Indonesia, so it's quite affordable in cities. But yeah, if we talk more about, let's say, Sweden, Netherlands, England, US, then yeah, it's very expensive, unfortunately. So you need to mind your budget as well as a travel journalist. In those countries where there is a devalued currency against euro and dollar can be checked. Yeah, that's true. In some countries, it can help if you earn, for example, in euros, dollars, or other currencies. So yeah, you need good quality light. That's true, especially if it's gloomy. A camera, microphone. So microphone is very important because there's a lot of noise of the cars and of the people and of construction. So you need to have your microphone close to you. Sometimes also when you shoot, let's say on the beach side, if you are on a beach city, let's say Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, you have a lot of wind as well. So then yeah, you need kind of a microphone with a windshield, right? So that's also important to know. And further, yeah, you just need to be aware of theft, right? If you have a big camera, so always keep it on your neck, guard it safe. Try to avoid taking a big camera to like dangerous neighborhoods or markets where there are illegal activities. Then it's better to just take a small GoPro or even a little bit with your phone to film because you can hide it easy, right? You can use that kind of money belt, or yeah, the best way is sometimes even like a plastic bag, can be good because no one expects that you have there your equipment, right? It looks a bit more like groceries or something. And try to dress also a bit local, I would say. That's also helpful, and light. So that's you want to blend in a little bit, right? In that kind of environments. So yeah, here we have an example of the market. I think this looks a bit, I have no idea where it is. It could be Morocco, it could be somewhere in Africa, maybe even like some tourists like searching for something. Or Asia, I think it could be Asia actually. But when I look on the people, it could be some Asian country. I see a Buddha there, so I think it's an Asian country, maybe Bangladesh or. But yeah, I also like on that kind of markets. Yeah, you can choose yourself if you take equipment that's expensive or just a GoPro to be a bit more incognito. So it's up to you. And yeah, like to be honest, like I did both. I sometimes took even to those a bit more dangerous markets. I took sometimes, yeah, even like a bigger camera because I really wanted to take those beautiful portraits. I took to Mercado de Brujas in La Paz, Bolivia. I didn't have problems. However, in Iquitos, like Hans maybe knows it, in Peru, there's like Belém market, and yeah, there were like some, yeah, I'm not sure if it's like illegal. I think it's illegal. Like they were selling monkey meat basically. So you saw like heads of the monkeys, you saw turtle shells, and there are even jaguar skins, but I didn't see it. So yeah, for those things, like when you're filming, like yeah, you need to be very careful. I was just filming the direction when I was going, and they didn't want that I filmed, so I said, "Oh, sorry," turned off my camera. So yeah, that's always good to be mindful. And then I decided not to take my big camera because the local guide said it's better not to take it. So I just took the GoPro and the phone. However, still in some places, maybe it's even advisable if it's very dangerous just to only take your GoPro, because if you lose your GoPro, right? If people rob you from a GoPro, okay, you lose your content, but they don't have access to your bank, to your phone, right? So let's say that's the smallest loss, right? If you have a GoPro or like a cheap camera. But of course, yeah, you can always back up every day your content and then just go with the empty SD card if you really are into that kind of bit more dangerous, let's say, travel journalism. So that's a bit of advantage. I think Baha is sharing something, the top 10 most affordable urban travel destinations. So that's good to know. Oh yeah, we have Hanoi, Vietnam, Lisbon, Portugal. I'm very close to Lisbon now at the moment. Siem Reap, Cambodia, I've been there. Oaxaca, Mexico, very beautiful for Dia de Muertos. I have been there as well. The 1st and 2nd of November in Oaxaca, you can celebrate it. And I would recommend to go even 20 October, a bit earlier when they prepare for the celebration. Krakow, one of my favorite cities in Poland, also affordable. However, lately it became a little bit more expensive, but still more affordable than other countries. Very good for food during Christmas. You have Christmas markets, very cool for photography. Pokhara, Nepal, I haven't been there. It seems like a different, it's not the capital, I think. I'm not sure. Maybe it is. Manila, Philippines. Yeah, I've been Manila as well, Bangkok as well. Vilnius, not yet, in Lithuania, and Bucharest in Romania. Then we have most dangerous cities. So that's funny. That's interesting. With the biggest crime rates. It's very interesting. Baja, very interesting what you're sharing. And safety advisories. Tijuana, Mexico, Acapulco, Mexico, Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. It has a lot of neighborhoods, or I mean cities in Mexico. I think Tijuana was close to the American border. I'm not sure. Venezuela. I was talking here in the hostel with one guy. He's actually from Venezuela. Natal in Brazil. Fortaleza, Brazil. Venezuela, Brazil. Yeah, I've been in Rio de Janeiro. It's true. You need in Rio de Janeiro. I recommend that you take the Uber because the Ubers are registered. So in some countries, it's dangerous just to take like the taxi. So in Rio de Janeiro, I was taking Uber with people that had a lot of reviews, and then I knew like, yeah, to take too much time to fake it, you know, that kind of reviews. So it's a bit more safe. Yeah, and then yeah, Los Angeles, very interesting. Actually, yeah, Los Angeles can be also a dangerous city. And of course, if the source is internet, so yeah, it's changing every day. So sometimes even in the most safe cities, there can be crime happening. And also in one of the most dangerous cities, maybe you meet a lot of awesome, very friendly people and you have an amazing time, right? So it's also subject, like, yeah, it all depends of who you meet, where you go, when. I see, I think it's Baja, right? You're writing. I was in Rio 5 times and it was very safe, yet good that South Africa has been upgraded and not in the top 15. Yeah, so I heard about Kaapstad, yeah, about South Africa. They speak Afrikaans. It's very similar to Dutch that I speak. Yeah, Rio, like, yeah, to be honest, like, I didn't have bad experiences, but I stayed in a bit safer neighborhoods. I went to 2 favelas, but more the touristy ones. However, yeah, there's still a lot of crime, unfortunately. But if you know where you go, if you meet the people, right people, then you know how to move, right? So then it's a bit, you need to be a bit streetwise, I would say, right? And that means also for travel journalists, if you document subcultures, local cultures in a bit more in developed countries or more dangerous, yeah, neighborhoods, then it's good, you know, like to be streetwise, just aware of your surrounding and yeah, team up with people. That's the best, you know, if you go with a local guide, local friends, it's always better. Okay, a bit more friendly destination. Let's say you shoot for luxury eco lodges, hotels, you know, with huge budgets. Let's say Hilton. Yeah, I was shooting, for example, yeah, for Kema, I did like 2 travel blogs with some video content for social media and photography. It's like they have 3 destinations in Peru, actually, Mancora, Arequipa, and Lima. So they gave me like 10 days, like free accommodation, basically, in the capital. So that's very nice. It cut my costs. And as you can imagine, yeah, if you do that kind of collabs, it's nice. They sometimes even pay you or offer you kind of like free accommodation, food, experiences. So it's very cool if you go to expensive destinations, you can cut costs. However, if you really want to live from it, then I recommend that you get paid projects, right? So that means that you do some services or photography, but then like on a project basis. So they pay you monthly, right? So basically every month they pay 1,000, 2,000 euros, right? Then you can really live from it. I did some projects, for example, for like a food company, Alphas. I was doing their social media channel and just basically text. So then I had like, yeah, for example, it was a stable project because I was doing and that and some other content and translating and teaching. So then it really adds up nice. So yeah, for that kind of project, yeah, what kind of gear would you pack if you shoot for hotels and more luxury places? I see from Bahia. I wish there were police, special police for tourists in those dangerous cities, accompanying groups in order to see around, which also make the location safe in long run. Actually, yeah, some locations even have sometimes maybe a bit undercover police. However, I know in Brazil, in even like touristy favelas like Vidigal and Rocinha, like the police cars are outside of the favela and basically they don't enter, so that's also a bit scary, I would say. Like it's a bit different reality than other countries. But yeah, maybe there are like some undercover police that patrol sometimes. Could be also. But okay, for hotels, I would recommend for hotels usually can even have a bit of cheaper camera, but yeah, it helps sometimes to come up with your drone or bigger lens camera. Then they know like, okay, he's really like professional, can take those professional shots. Still, if you want, you can use your phone. So that's also totally fine, or kind of combine both. Okay, but last piece for today, like your photography editing. So yeah, what do we mean with editing? I mean, you went there, you shot the picture, you were using different angles, you were looking at the light, right, of like a lamp or the sun. You were trying to take those unique shots. You were using composition of things, asking people for permission, right, for portraits. And you come back home, right? You uploaded everything nice on the laptop, and then yeah, and we have also editing, right? I upload usually like raw pictures, to be honest. I enjoy it. And yeah, sometimes if you have a specific magazine, you can edit as well, right? And you can use like different tools, and yeah, you can crop a picture. So sometimes you have a big picture and there's maybe a person on it from a market that his hat is cut off on the frame or his arm. You can just crop it. That means you have a specific frame where you only have the vendor selling the fruits, for example. You can resize it. That means you can make the size of the picture a bit smaller, easier to upload, right? Adjust brightness, put more light, less light, contrast with the shadow, for example, saturation. Yeah, further you have also retouching, removing like blemishness, wrinkles, imperfections, blurring. You can blur the background and focus more on the front of the picture. You can sharpen a bit more on a specific character. Yeah, basically like apply like blur, sharpen details, right, or smooth out skin tones, right, so you can see a little bit more the people. And filters and effects. So that's actually interesting nowadays with social media, with Instagram, TikTok. You can just sometimes in the app itself, you can use very quick editing by just like making the picture a bit lighter with some filters. So that's the easiest way. Like, it's basically on social media, you can just make the picture a bit more brighter, or just kind of like LA style, for example, or more like Java style, right? So basically you choose a bit like locations, and then it gets you a specific filter. You can buy some filters of some usually influencers, then they kind of did the work for you and then put it on a picture. And yeah, in the future, I think AI software will mainly do that. You can even put a picture, I think, in ChatGPT and say, please make it brighter, or change it a little bit, or let a person disappear. Nowadays, people do it manually, and some software implements a bit of AI, but I think in the future, you would just give like the commands, and mostly it will do it for you. And then for really heavy editing, for like something very important, then probably you need to do it still manual, right? So it will not die out. It will just change a little bit with AI. So yeah, which programs should you use? So I'll just keep it simple. At the beginning, you can use like social media editing. So that means you can put some filters, you can crop it a little bit. Most of social media tools like Instagram, TikTok, they have that. Even on YouTube, you can edit the videos a bit. Further, if you do more advertising and social media management for, let's say, tourist companies or even travel media, because travel magazines also have usually their own social media channels, you can work, or maybe for the website of the travel magazine, or the printed version, or the social media channels, right? And the same with hotels, right? They have a website, they have an Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and it's a great tool to make to edit your pictures, add text to like social media posts. It's like Canva, so you can use it for free or get like a premium version. And they have different templates, right, for like stories on Instagram, or for videos, for blog posts. So it's very cool. Those are the easiest. It's very like friendly, user friendly. If you want to do more professional, for like printed photography, for your travel blog, you really want to make those pictures like very professional. I don't use that much the editing software. I like sometimes to just upload it raw. It looks a bit more realistic. But yeah, for like maybe a travel magazine that you need to, like edit a little bit. So you can use Adobe Lightroom Classic or Adobe Photoshop. So those are more like paid ones. And Canva social media, it's like usually free. That's good to know. See also like Baja shared the top travel media marketing companies in the world for 2025. Oh, that's very good that you shared that. So we have from like American Express Global to Booking Holdings to Madden Media. Also, it's good to share it because yeah, they have sometimes affiliate programs. So you can always reach out for them for like paid jobs, remote freelance work, or even use their services, right, for yourself when you travel. Okay, so that's a bit about the editing software. I just recommend just to try first with social media Canva, and then slowly move into Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Lightroom if you want really to play around with professional photography. If you want to be like an award-winning photographer for National Geographic, or getting it published in a travel magazine, then we talk more about this software. If you just do it for your own travel channel, Instagram, like, or for other tourism brands or travel media, social media channels, right? Then yeah, Canva social media should do it as well. And yeah, in the future, we also add AI more into that, right? The fifth one. And there are, of course, a lot of other software as well, but I don't want to give you decision fatigues. I know these ones work, so you can check them out. So yeah, at the end, I just wanted to give you a small challenge. And the challenge is basically try to find your favorite travel photography, and try to play with it. Like, try to play with it in with different filters and with cropping and resizing it on your social media channel. You can use Canva, maybe make like advertisement from it, and maybe you can, offer your advertising services for like a tourist company. Or if you want to upload it for like a competition, I put it in the portal. Actually, there are many like competitions like National Geographic and some other companies as well that have them. Also, the ones that Baja shared. It's also possible that sometimes they have like competitions for photography, so you need to explore which ones. And yeah, basically you can upload your favorite photo, like your picture, travel photography, and you can submit it for a competition. So I think that's a very cool thing to do. And I did it one time for Columbus Travel Magazine, and they featured me in the printed magazine. So it was very cool. I just could see my picture with, like sandboarding in Huacachina, Peru. So it was very funny because I was later flying somewhere and I saw like the magazine on the airport. So I even bought like two just as a memory. So it was very cool. Yeah, it's a very cool experience. So yeah, for professional photography, more dope Photoshop, right, or Lightroom, and for more amateur and for small like commercial ones, you can do Canva or social media. So yeah, that's the challenge, right? So edit your favorite travel photography and yeah, try to submit it for like the competition. Maybe Baja, if you know any like competitions out there, yeah, I see you're sharing it already. We have Sony World Photography Awards. I think I shared today this one in the portal, National Geographic. Now we're a bit at the end of the year, so it's possible a lot expired, but please check it. Maybe there are some already for 2026. And sometimes you can upload your pictures for more like competitions, right? So it's always good to try. You can try 8, 10, for example, right? I would say it's usually difficult to like win for like National Geographic, for example, but definitely possible. Sometimes there are like smaller companies, like tour agencies that do those competitions just of you taking a selfie or more like with your phone a picture. And with these ones, it's usually easier to like win something. You could win sometimes a trip to Japan, for example, or like a new backpack or a new Canon camera if it's like a camera company. So yeah, definitely give it a try. It can be very cool. And if not, you can use this picture also for like your social media or your blog. So that's a bit the challenge. Find your favorite travel photography and try to submit it for a competition. Baja shared you already all the competition opportunities. Baja, could you also share it in the portal? That would be very helpful. If you can later share it, that would be really awesome. So yeah,
yeah, sure. But
oh, that's awesome.
this is almost general based on the calendar, but I'll go into detail to see what are they available.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, if you could like put it in the portal, that will be very valuable for us. Then everyone has it a little bit overview, for the whole year, and that will be very cool.
Yeah, sure. I'll do that.
We can try, like to submit. It will be awesome. Someone can win it. So yeah, that was it for today. A bit about the travel gear. I will also try to make a list for you, like of the most of the travel gear that I use, that a lot of my colleagues use as well. So it can be a thing good to share it with you. Also with the links where you can get it. And yeah, and also like Baja said, he will share like the competitions in the portals. You can do your best to like participate. Just also for the experience, doesn't matter if you are still like starting out. If you want to increase your chances, then go more for the tour agency competitions, a bit the smaller ones. And if you want to go for the big shot, like National Geographic, for example, then yeah, give it a try. Why not, right? I mean, uploading a picture for the competition, it's not like that much work. It can maybe take 30 minutes to 1 hour, with editing maybe a bit more, but definitely worth the experience. So yeah, before we close, like, are there any questions? Because I was talking a lot today. I didn't have the chance to hear you out. So are there any questions about the gear? I see Veronica Fruit's already very late. So good night. Good night for you. I understand you need to hop off.
Yes, one quick question, if I may.
Yes, of course.
Sorry, can I ask one quick question?
Yes, of course. Can you hear me well?
Generally, are there any kind of agencies or organization for which, for example, we can rent the packages for photography or camera, something like that?
Yeah,
Uh,
they are. They are
or is,
actually.
or
Mhm.
is it more economic to rent or we have to buy it? That's the question.
That's a very good question. I'm very happy that you asked that because there are opportunities to do that. And I will share with you what kind of opportunities you have. One, easiest one is universities. So it's more like if you're enrolled somewhere, it's awesome. You can use their computers, editing software. So I had that when I was studying journalism. We had access to editing software, computers, cameras, power banks, like tripods. So was awesome to a studio as well to record things. So it can be very valuable. Like maybe if you know someone at a university or just are working at the university. I know you, Baha, like you're like still doing like a lot of things with the universities. So you can get access to a lot of yeah. Probably it's possible that every university has, I think, a place where you can rent a camera because students use it for like the projects. Some universities have more professional ones, like journalists, for example, or media or communication, and other ones maybe basic ones, but still good. Other thing, what you can do is you can,
Yeah, absolutely. For example,
mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
just want to give an example. University of The Hague, in which there is also a special facility for podcasts. So we used to have our podcast for the projects
mm-hmm.
under a very under recording kind of system, mics and stuff. So it's possible based on the prior booking. So it was free for all the students. They can use it.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to know. So, guys, if you have access to or know someone that has access, can be very valuable. You can just basically rent it for free. For others, unfortunately, if you're not enrolled in universities, yeah, unfortunately, we here at Travel Media Academy, because we do it online, we don't have at the moment, like a big studio or like a big storage with camera. However, yeah, maybe I will think about something for the Peru expedition that maybe we can rent out some equipment so you can like try it out. So we will see what we can do with that. I'll bring also a lot of mine equipment so you can also test it out, like Canon camera, GoPro, like how you use like a gimbal, for example. So I will bring that everything for the expedition in August. So yeah, I also like I will work with the local videographer, so he can also maybe bring like a drone, so you can get the feeling of all that equipment, so you can test it out and use it as well for your content. But yeah, if you are like, for example, based in Netherlands or in Europe, there are like stores like Camera Nu, that's in Netherlands, Canon, Sony, and sometimes you can like rent equipment, right? So you just pay per month. You have also like leasing, I think, and you can buy, right? So that's the last one. And with buy, you can do second hand. So it's like second or refurbished. That's more with laptops. So that means, for example, if you had a laptop, it was in the store, right? As a kind of like as a show off, basically. Then usually the price is less, and you can buy it for like 800 euro less. While it's just a normal working laptop, right? And that means the same with second hand. And yeah, I know there are many shops nowadays that they rent out as well equipment. So if you're abroad, just check it out. Maybe you can rent out, you can rent maybe a tripod so you don't need to carry it. You can rent a drone for a day, a professional camera. So yeah, it's something definitely you should look into it so you can save a lot of money and time and energy of carrying it, right? And sometimes you can also like hire someone like a professional videographer that has already the gear that can help you make your YouTube video, for example. So that's also like option. So that's hiring a professional. And that's also a great way to learn from that professional. So yeah, that's I think with that question, maybe other questions. All right, no questions anymore. I see here. Now, do we have anything like outlet shops, like for the clothes? I think there should be also something like sometimes, for example, I know in the Netherlands you have like second-hand shop and you can buy sometimes old cameras. It's like a second-hand shop or online, like you have like Masterclass. So you can also like Facebook groups. You can sometimes have people that, for example, they decided to upgrade from like old GoPro to the newest version or from old drum to new drum. So I would recommend that as well. But I would recommend more like communities where you know the people, you know, like that you have a feeling, at least a bit of trust, right? But yeah, or you can give it a try. But yeah, it's always with electronics, you need to be careful, right? That it's working well. But it's the same with cars, for example, right? Okay, guys. So thanks a lot for today. If you have any questions more, you can just like message me like private or just in the portal. We'll close down the session for today. And about travel photography, we have next time on Sunday, also like at 7 p.m. Amsterdam time zone, like a new session. And the last one, actually, I'm not sure what was like the topic. I will stop the recording.